Alright. Welcome to Let's Talk About It, Steph. Goodness, we have so much to talk about on this political Wednesday night. I have my guest host, Dale. I'm going to bring him up. How's everything going, Dale? Don't even get me started about this weather. This yesterday it was like 90 degrees going on 100. And today it's like what, 70 degrees? Right, right. You know what? I'm gonna be quiet because it can be worse. All right. Well, we definitely have a lot to talk about today. Man, I can't even make this stuff up tonight, but we're gonna have guest speakers coming on today, and it's gonna be very interesting. Let me add you on here, Dale. Okay, there we go. There you go, Dale. So tonight we got some hot topics to talk about. Of course, everybody's talking about the famous group chat gone wrong. So we definitely gonna get into that subject because we've all done it. We've all text one or the wrong person, the wrong stuff in a group chat, and some of us do I spy and make sure before you text, we look and see who's on our text line. So we're gonna definitely talk about group text going bad because Headseth, whatever his name is, he made the ultimate mistake by sending out the text, and now somebody else is trying to take the blame for it. I can't make this stuff up. And then we're gonna mosey on and we're gonna talk about our famous Texas lady, Miss Jasmine Crockett, to where they're trying to censor her because she said Hot Wheels. Now, y'all know down here in Texas, we all say Hot Wheels. So I don't know why they even trying to throw mud on her or silence her. I'm going to tell you one thing. You can't put Jasmine Crockett in the corner. She going to come out fighting. So you know what? You can try, but you ain't going to shut her up. She going to talk her talk. And then we're going to mosey on over and we're going to talk about what's going on here in Texas with the Texas run for the state chair. We have invited a special guest, Delia, to the platform, so she'll be popping on here at 7:30. So y'all stay tuned. Don't hang up on us. Watch all the way through. We got some great stuff to talk about. So y'all get ready. We're gonna talk about what's going on today. So hang tight.
Absolutely.
All right, you ready, Dale?
Yep. Yep. I was going to say, which, I mean, there's a lot to talk about, but which one of those did you want to talk about first?
Let's go with this group text. Now, Dale, we both have phones. We both sometimes when we both were running. I know me when I was once running, I had certain group chats that I would use for my team that we talked about stuff, and the messages disappear. But you pretty much know who you have on those group texts. So we have here our Secretary of Defense. He said he didn't know who was on there.
Yeah, I think I do believe that. I think I do because this just really kind of shows the world that the world is in chaos with them. It was in chaos in last administration as well. I mean, they cartoonishly make a lot of mistakes because they just rush everything, and I don't think there's any real sense of any leadership. I think people are trying to do random different things, and not to mention, I mean, I will say I think it was an honest mistake, probably by Pete Hegseth because he's so inexperienced for this particular role. He should not be in this position. This is not what he excels at. This is not. Uh, I don't even really know if he actually really wanted the job. I mean, I'm sure he likes the power, but he can't run an agency like this. He's a talking head, is what he is. So I don't really know how well he even knows technology or whatnot, but
Mhm.
it's just constant chaos. So it's actually, to me, it's not too surprising. What to me is more surprising is the way Fox News is trying to handle it. But I'll pass it off to you before we get to that part.
Let's go. Let's talk about it because you know what? We can't make this stuff up. I get what you're saying that it could be possible because you know what? We all made mistakes like that. But when you're in the military, you know what app y'all supposed to use and what you're not supposed to use. And those that are in security part, they know not to use that particular app. Why they use that and he discussed certain stuff that he shouldn't have been discussing, I don't know. If you're gonna do conversations like that, I feel like y'all they should have been in the situation room to discuss the plan. This is what we're gonna do instead of putting it on a text because technology these days you're in software, you know, anything can be hacked. And we had someone that was over there trying to negotiate over in Russia the same day that this happened, and he was on the group text too. So what if the Russian spies had actually tapped in to his account while he was over there? They know everything, and it's a possibility that they still do.
Yeah, it's a bit ridiculous. And I was also going to say, well, you hit on a point that I nearly forgot about. You said that they should be in the situation room. Well, actually, the way the rules work is if you're ever going to talk about anything that's secret or top secret or confidential, or whatever, you're supposed to go into a room that's called a SCIF. I'm blanking right now on what the acronym of the SCIF stands for, but essentially, it's a room that it is built in a particular way that satisfies certain security requirements.
Hmm.
Basically, it has to be a room. It has to be a room, I believe, with no windows. There has to be like some type of like soundproofing, so like no one can like push their ear against the wall or something to hear you from the other side. There's a certain procedure that you're supposed to physically put your physical body in when you talk
Hmm.
about highly classified information like this. On top of that, there's a whole nother specification for which applications and programs you can use when it comes to these types of things. I don't really know if this program they used was approved or not, but I do know, for example, if there's two individuals who are talking about either be secret or top secret or highly classified, uh, both parties are supposed to be in a type of skiff. And if they're in two different skiffs, then sure they can call each other, but that call has to be made over an encrypted line and done through a approved means of technology, and that
Right.
was clearly not being done in this case. I mean, at the very I don't know if the members on the call were inside of a skiff or not, but I mean, absolutely well, the press was not, right. So it's a bit ridiculous to see all of this. So that was a blatant security violation there. And
Right.
on top of that, too, what's also kind of nuts about all this is just the way that the press has been handling this. So we're seeing right now downplaying of this because I don't know why I do this to myself, but I have my cell phone set up where I have a window that shows me Fox News and a window that shows me CNN, and I watch them both side by side because it's always
Mhm.
interesting to watch um, the different headlines. They're really trying to downplay this, and I find that to be absolutely, I mean, almost horrifically ironic when you think back to the whole concept of when Joe Biden accidentally had some classified documents in his car or next to his car or something like that. And
Yeah.
then Donald
It's
Trump
his
did something
garage, I
similar.
think, wasn't it?
Yeah, where Donald Trump also had documents in Mar-a-Lago, and there was this whole thing, and we saw it with both of them in the way that media spins it. And
Mhm.
the same thing's happening now. But this is classified information. This time, it's more particularly classified information that has to do with military actions in
Right,
times
and
of
they
dropping
were
bombs.
live.
And it's insane to watch Fox News downplay this. Or
Mhm.
they just had a White House press briefing earlier today. I need to see what it is that they said, but they are really trying to downplay it. And it's just, I feel like we almost kind of feel like it's Groundhog Day, where we're reliving the whole story that we went through with the classified documents last time. They're
You
trying
mean
to.
with Hillary?
Well, yeah, no, I mean, like with the whole concept of Donald Trump had classified documents at Mar-a-Lago, and then he supposedly, he unclassified it by talking about it, or he can somehow unclassify things by thinking about it, or just by willing it. Um, they're not trying that this time around, but the way that they're trying to downplay it, there are some of the media outlets are saying that it was not classified information, which is absolutely laughable.
Yeah,
Obviously,
exactly.
when you're talking about where you're going to drop bombs and when, that has to be classified. There's no way that it's unclassified information. So to see these media outlets just outright lie like that is absolutely insane. Or I believe one of the Fox News headlines I saw was the scandal that never was. They're trying to say that, Democrats are inflating this and making this a big deal. Well, we're making this a big deal because it is a big deal, because
Yeah.
this is the actions of our military, and the actions of our military and the plans for our military, especially when it comes to dropping bombs, that has to be classified. That has to be handled with care, and that's not what we're seeing happen here. This in any real world, if if the administration did this while or I'm sorry, rather, if this happened with the previous administration, if this happened during the Joe Biden administration,
Yeah.
I would expect Joe Biden to fire the guy, right?
Yeah.
But that's not going to happen here. Instead, Donald Trump is, I believe he's called it, quote, no big deal. And it's mind blowing to see the skew of all of this.
Yeah, that's the most craziest thing that I've ever seen or heard ever. It's just the craziest stuff. We can't make this stuff up, you know, and that brings you to like us, we use different platforms all the time, and they always tell us, don't trust your platform because it can easily be hacked. And with them being the higher ranking people that they are, you would think that they would know better, like they were saying before. This was a breach. It was a leak. Somebody needs to step up and take responsibility of what happened. It was an accident. I believe it was an accident because they didn't want the public to get out. And maybe, I don't know, somebody added their reporter on there. So they might need to check who's in their camp. Somebody put that reporter onto that link. But at the end of the day, you kind of know who's on your chat group, you know, and you kind of like go before you even start doing stuff. Maybe it's just me, but I always look and see who's on my chat. Was anybody else added to that I don't know anything about? And also, when I'm invited to chats, I kind of like survey the room and see who's in there. Is it okay for me to have a to freely speak about things, or what needs to be done? Because at the end of the day, nothing's secure. So you do have to be mindful of what you say on these group chats, because people like to take screenshots and stuff. I'm careful about some of the text that I said, like on my job. I'm careful about the text because sometimes people will screenshot it and use it against you later, especially if you're just joking about something. Don't joke with people. Don't put it on there. If you don't know them like that, I suggest you not do it. If you can't say it in public, don't put it in a text because people will screenshot and use it against you later. So be mindful who you have as your friend and your group. Know your group.
Yeah.
And
And another thing I was going to say too, before I forget to say it, I'm not a federal employee. I'm a federal contractor, but I have to every single year. There's something called security awareness training, and both federal employees and federal contractors are required to do it. And if you don't do it, then you lose access to the system. Like in my case, I lose access to my email. I don't have a badge anymore, but if I did have a badge, then that would have been deactivated. So you were forced to do the security awareness training every single year. Some years it's the same thing. Usually they update it with more information. I noticed the last time I did it, there was more talk about AI and the certain things, certain things that you should or should not copy and paste when uh, asking an AI chat robot for help. But these security awareness trainings are here to make darn sure that everyone knows that, yeah, when you handle this type of information is classified, or if you see information that is classified, and it's, it's a bunch of documents, that it's sitting in an insecure location, and there's a certain procedure that you're supposed to go through in order to take care of that situation. And because of this, I know that there is absolutely no excuse. There is
Right.
no excuse. It's not just like, oh, I can't believe he would be that dumb. No, I mean, he should have done the same security awareness training that the rest of us all do. That, and it's also by the agency as well. So, for example, back when I was badged both with NOAA and the Department of the Interior, not only did I have to do it once a year for NOAA, but I also had to do a separate one once a year for the Department of the Interior. So they make absolutely sure that people are aware of how to handle these things. So the
Hmm.
concept of ignorance is no excuse, is what I'm saying. It's absolutely no excuse for this situation.
I agree. I agree. You basically, he was in the military, and my thing is he knows about security because they're always getting debriefed and briefed about everything about security. So he knew, he knew what he was doing, and I guess they thought nobody's going to say anything and nobody was going to make it public. But at the end of the day, we got to make sure our soldiers are out there being protected. Those that are protecting this country, they need to be protected. Like what was that? A few months back, somebody was trying to expose the FBI or CIA people, the ones that's out there in the field. And I'm like, I hate to call people dumb, but some of these folks do the dumbest thing ever. If you know that we have people out all over this world, why in the world would you expose who they are? So if there's an enemy out there, they may not go after that person. They may go after their family member because your dumb butt done expose who this person is. It don't take much for people to find out who folks are because of the way how Big Brother is. Big Brother is everywhere. You got cameras everywhere that you got drums that can go look at and see what your car looks like in your yard and everything like that. So when you're in government, you got to be smarter than the average bear. Use your common sense. And with that, Dale, we're going to move on over to the next subject. Miss Jasmine Crockett. If you don't know who she is, and I don't know how you don't know who Miss Jasmine Crockett is, she is the rising star and a Texas congresswoman that has been basically putting her foot on their necks and exposing all their wrongdoings out there in DC. She's not afraid to speak up. Well, on the other day, she was out in California and she spoke up jokingly about something that we all have done out here. And she called Governor Abbott Hot Wheels. Now, you know how here in Texas, nobody calls him really Governor Abbott. They call him Hot Wheels. And we all know who we're talking about when we say that. But, now they want to say that she's a disgrace and they want to silence her. And I'm quite sure they want to sue her as well. One thing that I do know, I had the opportunity to meet Miss Crockett, and I'm gonna tell you, she's a very feisty person. And she's not one that you're going to be able to put in a corner. You're not going to silence her. She's going to say what she's going to say, and she will be holding you accountable. So you can come with her with all that. At the end of the day, Jasmine's going to say what Jasmine's going to say, whether you like it or not. Because here's the thing: when the GOP can go and talk about a disabled vet and all the other things that they talk about that's disgraceful and distasteful, why does she say something about Hot Wheels and now you got your underwear stuck in the wrong place? Make that make sense, Dale, because I can't.
Yeah, it's really it's very interesting to watch a party that seems to care so much about quote unquote freedom of speech absolution and turn around and then say, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe she said something mean." When
It
their
would cut
party
the
says mean
nerve.
things all the time. Donald Trump once called a reporter horse face. I mean, and I can't. Well, don't even get me started on Trump. He said so many things. And the Republican Party, they claim to care so much about this freedom of absolution so much to the point that they're even willing to hold water for people like Nick Fuentes, who is a self-described Nazi and idolizes Adolf Hitler. They say that freedom of speech absolution is so important to the point the conservatives hold water for people like Alex Jones. And the number of things that many number of insults that other even right wing media outlets like Fox News. Jesse Waters, I believe, called someone the Haktua girl, the previous vice president, Kamala Harris, referred to her as a Haktua girl. There's insults said all of the time. It's very interesting to watch this party that wants to paint a picture of themselves being so thick-skinned, and they want to paint a picture of us being thin-skinned, and that's why they would call us snowflakes back in the day. And yet here they are acting like the most snowflakiest individuals because, oh my gosh, we use the word Hot Wheels. I can't tell you the number of comedians I've heard say call him that. I know there's a puppet comedian called Randy Feltface. I've heard him see it. I've heard him say that live. And
Right.
it's actually a very common said thing all the time. And yeah, calling them Hot Wheels is a little disrespectful, but it's not even remotely the same level of disrespectful as calling Kamala Harris the Haktua girl, or the
Right.
number of insults that Donald Trump has given to a number of other individuals. So yeah, who's the snowflake now is what I would have to ask.
What does they say? It's good to give it, but they don't like to receive it.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
it's completely ridiculous, and it shows their fragility. Is what it shows, and it shows their childishness, and it also
it really
shows that you can't really take them seriously. I don't really
no.
think their feelings are actually hurt. I think this is more of a persecution complex. If you barely scratch them, their persecution complex reflexes kick in. They say, "Oh, oh no! How dare they say blah blah blah?" They're just looking for something to complain about.
Right, right. Well, you know what? Hold on now. Let's pivot over to another prominent Texas politician, Attorney General Ken Paxton. Ugh, I know we don't like talking about him either, but we got to talk about it. So, Ken Paxton, U.S. put in his U.S. Senate bid, and he's no stranger to controversy. If y'all know who Paxton is, Paxton likes to sue. So he's one of those. But now Paxton is turning his attention to a new challenge. He wants to run as a U.S. Senate. It's no surprise that this move is stirring up controversy, especially considering the turmoil that's going on in the GOP down there in Austin. And it marked by legal battles, and it's all kind of corruption that's going on, especially with this guy. If his name is next to it, is some type of corruption is going on. But Paxton made a decision to run, and he's just doing another political power play move, and Of course, he's always wants to focus on the border and shift blame. And he's just one of those people that he just don't need to be in politics at all. He really don't. What I want to really say where he needs to go, he really needs to go there. And he knows where he needs to go because I don't even see why his wife is still married to him. But you know what? Bless her heart. But Dale, he wants to run as our U.S. state senate.
Yeah, yeah. I thought Ted Cruz was bad, but and Ted Cruz is bad, but Ted Cruz is cartoonish. Ted Cruz is a troll. Ken Paxton is genuinely corrupt, and
Evil.
he is, and he knows how to be unfortunately effective. Donald Trump. Well, Donald Trump 1.0 in the first administration, his stupidity got in his own way. Uh,
Mhm.
I don't know if I'd say it this time around because I don't think Trump's really in control. I think he just has Project 2025 taking care of the actual motions for him. But I mean that's getting off on a tangent. But likewise, Ted Cruz is just a troll, right?
Right.
And Paxton is smarter than that, and the type of person who I would just say he has a fetish. I mean, you're not if you were to confront that guy on the stage and talk about all the terrible things he did, he'll enjoy it because this guy has a fetish. Like you can't debate this guy. The guy will enjoy it. He's been impeached by a massive margin, and just for the listeners out there, I want you to understand when I say he was impeached at the state level in Texas, he was impeached by a Republican led House of Representatives at the state level. He was, uh, and that says a lot. That says a lot. I mean, keep in mind, during the impeachment proceedings, many of those on the right said, wow, it's interesting that Greg Abbott is not saying anything. Usually, Greg Abbott jumps in and says,
He
oh,
does.
here's my opinion on this. He did not. Even Greg Abbott stepped away from it and would not touch this with a 10-foot pole. And he was,
Why do you think that, Dale?
I think that because, well, I don't think it's the case anymore. To be honest with you, I don't really know, but I just have a couple of educated guesses. I do know that one path to governorship from Greg's point of view might have been through the attorney general. And I
Mhm.
might be stretching here, but I say that because, of course, uh, uh, Governor Greg Abbott, was the attorney general before he became governor. Right? I mean, Greg Abbott actually has a. I mean, I do not like the guy, but he does. I do have to admit, he does have an impressive political resume. Greg Abbott was on the Texas state level Supreme Court for 6 years, and after being on the Supreme Court at the state level in Texas, he decided that wasn't enough for him, so he left being a Supreme Court justice and became the attorney general. And then, after being the attorney general for a while, then he became governor. So, from his point of view, he might think like, oh, if there was anyone to actually challenge Greg Abbott, let's put it this way: almost any Republican who would try to primary Greg Abbott does not stand a chance. I don't think there is anyone who can even be taken seriously in a Republican primary against Greg Abbott except for Ken Paxton. I think Ken Paxton is the only person on this entire planet who could possibly even have even a thought of a chance of trying to take on Greg Abbott in a primary. And I think Greg Abbott saw that, and I do think, well, not even think, I know for a fact that the number one thing that politicians care about more than money is job security. Job security is the only thing they care about more than money. And so if I was Greg Abbott, now saying, that's the only person in Texas who can even think about even trying to take me on in a primary. If you're seeing that guy get impeached, then you're probably thinking, oh, that's gonna that's gonna make me feel more safe at my job. I think. Again, I'm speculating here, but
Mhm.
I think that's a logical explanation.
But see, I get what you're saying on that because that would be a great chess move on there. But here's my thing: Greg Abbott has his people that's in the Senate, right? So why in the world didn't he talk to them about going forward with this, right? Because there's the four. You know, even the guy that I ran against, he didn't even look at the paperwork and had said, "Well, whatever, we quitting him. He's not going to jail." You know, whatever, it's all good. You know, that's the reason why he's still our attorney general, is because for some reason they decided not to do it. The Senate.
Yeah, well, it's not for some reason. It's because of Tim Dunn and Ferris Wilkes. The Senate is kind of, I would not call them a lost cause per se, but I do understand that it is very clear and open that Tim Dunn and Ferris Wilkes favor Ken Paxton very much.
Yeah.
Tim Dunn and Ferris Wilkes gave well, if you look at the news, you'll see that they gave a total of what I think $3 million to Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick right before the impeachment trial when it hit hitting the Senate floor. Now, to be more detailed about that, that's what you'll see usually if you read news articles. But if you actually like look it up, you'll notice that of those three, two of those millions were actually in loans. Now, if you ever go to someone's Ballotpedia article or you look up someone's campaign finance, you should one raise an eyebrow when it comes from a lot of money from really large super PACs. Like I believe that PAC at the time was the Defend Texas Liberty PAC. The Defend Texas Liberty PAC is basically Tim Dunn and Ferris Wilkes. They've renamed the PAC since because that PAC was the one that got associated with Nick Fuentes through disgraced former State House Representative Jonathan Stickland. But
Yeah.
what's more important, though, is that, all right, he got a $1 million from the Defend Texas Liberty PAC, but the loans are a whole nother thing. Because when you see a loan given to a politician, understand that you know they got to be writing those loans in such a way, those loan contracts in such a way where they can snap their fingers and make that politician give them back the money at a moment's notice. When you see a
Right.
politician take a loan, understand that that is a leash around their neck. That is a leash
Exactly.
around their neck. And so, and that is what Tim Dunn and Ferris spoke. You see, you have to understand, it's not just Dan Patrick. Every single Republican state level senator in Texas takes their money. I'm not exaggerating. Every single Republican state level senator has taken money from Tim Dunn and Ferris Wilkes. To at least every one of them takes money from at least one of their many different PACs, and they have quite a few PACs over time. Usually because they keep changing the name of the PAC. But yeah, so Tim Dunn. That to answer your question, that's why the Senate is rather why the Senate did acquit Ken Paxton. It's not because of Greg. It's because Tim Dunn and Ferris Wilkes have complete control of the Senate. I believe they have more control over the Senate than Greg Abbott does, I think.
Yeah. Well, guess what? Our special guest has arrived, and those of y'all who do not know this young lady here, this is Delia Parker, ma'am. She is the current Denton County party chair, and she is running to be your next Texas State party chair leader. So, welcome aboard, Delia. I'm going to add her on here. There you go. Hi, Delia.
Hi, how are you? It's been a while. How are you doing?
Great, great. You know, Dell and I are up here having our fun time chats about, all this hot topic stuff that we can't make up. We got
No, you
text
can't make
gone
it up.
wrong, and they trying to silence our Jasmine. You know, you can't put baby in the corner. She is not going in the corner quietly.
I
And
think
of
it's the.
course,
I think it's. I think it's her audacity of being black. I think that's what it
oh yeah, that is crazy. Here we go. Much better. Okay. Yeah, and then okay, we got a feedback back there.
better.
Yeah. So we were just wrapping up talking about old Ken Paxton that decided he wants to run as the U.S. Senate. And we all know we don't need him. He just needs to go away. Somebody needs to tell him it's time for him to retire and just go away somewhere. Maybe he can go, I don't know, go be a farmer. Go do that. He might
You
have
know,
luck.
if
He
he
was,
were in the Senate, I think it would be a lot better. Okay, I'm just gonna say it's unpopular opinion, but him being Attorney General really hurts us. I mean, he's investigating all kinds of stuff that's but just not giving nobody child support. But in the Senate, he'd have to have a little bit more something about himself, and I think he's not really bright enough to pull it off.
well, right now I think he got a matter of fact, he just put a bid in for a lawsuit against the Muslim
Mhm.
building out there in, is it Carrollton this time? He's messing with them over there.
I don't remember where it was, but it was like a community center that they're building, and he wanted to. I mean, that kind of stuff that he's spending money on. He wants to overturn people's ability to have same-sex marriages. I mean, he wants to actually put into effect. He's chasing down anybody who has helped anybody get any type of life-saving care through abortion. He may actually be better if he's in the Senate, honestly.
He can be less nosy. Yeah, you know what? His wife might make, you know what? That might be a good idea. We might need to send him to DC so he can get on their nerves and give his wife an opportunity to be free from him. Because I know she's probably tired of looking at him.
Yeah, well, she's in that cult, so she's
Yeah,
willing to
it's
accept it.
something.
Hmm.
Well, Miss Delia, tell us about your race to being the next state chair. How's that going for you?
Wow, we've been on state chair tour, and that has been fun and exciting, and I'm really thrilled that I decided to run. So I can't say anything differently. Now, if the voting public is so incredibly small, I'm probably not going to be at the top of that because it's only going to be about 120 people who are in the SDC voting. But nonetheless, it has been so amazing, and people are talking about Denton, and they're talking about how much, and I've been reading what the county has done, and I'm telling them that our volunteers in Denton County are the volunteers that need to be at the front of the Texas line to change Texas. Because we have a great organizational structure, we got great volunteers. So we're getting that out, and I, it is one race where I truly like all the candidates. I really like all the candidates, and I think when you run, you gotta have a hunger, and we all want whomever wins to be successful. So I think that was a true genuine feeling. But I've been received rather well by the public in going to the forums. Unfortunately they're not the voters, but been, I've been received pretty well by the voters as we've been going out to these forums. And by voters I mean the constituents, not the SDC or whatever.
So when is the election?
Saturday.
Oh, wow. So what do you have to say to your Texas people that will be voting for you on Saturday?
If you only knew how many forums we've had to say, whatever it is we've had to say, we've said it a lot. But like I tell them, I think that Denton County is the best county party in the state of Texas, and we have the numbers to prove it. Everything that we've been successful at is what we need to be successful at the state level. From registration to increasing volunteerism to increasing precinct chairs to increasing Democrats to the polls. Now, in some red areas, the best we can do is increase turnout, and that helps our statewide races. And right now, Denton County is the largest county in the state who did that trend. The trend is to lose Democratic voters nationally as well as statewide, but not in Denton County because we have a strategic plan and we execute it. So I think I think that and the fact that I'm really one of the only candidates who's been expanding the Democratic brand and network wise on TV, debating people, and you want a very well rounded chair that can help increase the engagement of the state of Texas. So, but I do think everybody running is very passionate about what they want to do and change. And that is how change happens. You have to have passion.
Okay. Well, I noticed that you have been over in the rural area. So how was that?
Well, my one of my regrets is that I didn't go to Kingfish and ordered the catfish to go when we had an event there. I tasted a little bit of it and it was so good. And I thought, oh my god, I should have ordered like 4 orders to go. And that was in East Texas. So that was fun. The rural people have a strong fight in them, and they certainly feel ignored by the state party. And the state party kind of has really ignored pretty much all the county parties, but the rural counties feel it even worse because nobody ever goes to those areas. And then there's a lot of those counties in those rural areas that really need a lot of help struggling to get organized. And so we've already in Denton County, we've already started um, doing a county to county mentorship, and that is what we're going to do. As soon as this race is over, we're going to intensify that because going around meeting all these county parties, and we had great welcomes with them. But a lot of them they need a little bit more hands-on direction than they're getting right now with Timothy.
Okay. That sounds amazing. So, Delia, you did bring up Denton County and how wonderful Denton County is. So, what is your expectation for these next 2 years?
We're going to start right now with getting ready for Get Out the Vote. We're not waiting until 2026. We have to start engaging many different ways, even if that means just being in the community. But we have to start right now, and we don't have a lot of time. The time frame is the 2030 race because at that point we have to be ready across the entire state of Texas because then we can get out of these maps that we're in. And if we don't, it's going to be grim for a long time. So I'm hoping from running, getting Denton County out and telling people, nobody's really ever came to our county and asked us what we do and how we do differently. But meeting everyone and making this tour around the state, people are starting to listen. And I'm hoping that we all, as candidates, we have vowed to work with each other. And that's something I think that our county can certainly help uh, extend an organizing hand to other counties because it doesn't do us any good to increase turnout if we can't affect change everywhere. So that's what I've been running on the theme of one team. We have to
Okay.
become one team.
Okay. Well, let me bring Mr. Dale up. He might have something he wants to say. Hey, Dale.
Denton County. I remember when I first started becoming curious about what a precinct chair was. I think I reached out to her. I think it was over Instagram is how I reached her, and she responded almost immediately. And becoming a precinct chair was actually a pretty quick process, and it was something I really wound up enjoying. I met a lot of people through doing that and walking around, doing literature, eventually knocking on doors over time. But Delia's been a major help here, and also her Fight Back 50 campaign really, I believe, a lot of really good voter turnout. And so I've seen Delia's work and what she's done, and she's been absolutely phenomenal for the Democrats here in Denton County, and hopefully soon abroad throughout all of Texas as well soon.
Hopefully, I think we're going to make an impact regardless of how it turns out. Just running and meeting people and meeting whoever the next chair is going to be from me to any of those. I'm excited about the future of how we can change TDP. And I remember when you started coming around, Dale, you were very courageous. You just started showing up. You didn't know anyone, but you just came around and you never stopped coming around. So we were thrilled that you wanted to be precinct chair.
Yeah, yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun. I think you know when I first came to Texas, I came to Texas about probably 8, 9 years ago. I felt that Democrats down here were an endangered species, and I guess I just made that assumption, but I didn't realize that no, we're actually not a red state. We're just a non-voting state. I didn't realize that until I started getting more involved. And when you come here with this initial feeling in your head, thinking that, oh, this is a deep red state. Oh, my vote probably doesn't matter here. I'm just one blue speck in a sea of red. When you have those ideas and you finally realize, oh wait, no, there's a way to volunteer. There's a way to try to get out the vote. There's a way to try to make other people realize that, as a party, we do exist here.
Mhm.
It becomes very uplifting, and it becomes very freeing. It almost lifts a weight off from your shoulders.
Yeah.
Now, I say that as someone who's moved here probably about, like I said, about 7, 8 years ago. But I think it's also because, growing up in New England and watching Saturday Night Live and the way they portray Texas, Texas is seriously portrayed as basically being the darkest, reddest state in the entire country, right? So when you come down here, you come down with that stigmatism in your head, and it's very freeing. And like I said, a weight off from your shoulders when you finally realize that there are people who advocate for democratic values, for trying to fix our broken healthcare system, trying to advocate to help our public schools, trying to, you know, actually even try to make sure that we spend our property taxes in a correct and decent way, and not hold it back into a big massive surplus. That's something you'll probably feel more about when you actually start to own a house and begin to realize is how much property taxes are down here. But I'm about to go off on other tangents, but it is good to see, and to realize, oh, Democrats do exist for one, and then realize that it's not a red state. It's not, despite all of the stigmatism and the betrayal of the face of Texas, and the betrayal of how Texas is portrayed as a red state through media and through various different outlets to the rest of the country. It's actually truly a purple state, but it's a non-voting state. It's a non-voting
Yeah.
state, and when you finally realize that, it's a huge lift of weight off your shoulders.
Yeah. We call it an unorganized state, and that's what we need at the top is better organization and better structure that flows down. But we do flip this state through our county parties. So I think that message has been made very clear throughout this chair process. And I'm very confident that everybody running understands that the county parties need to be built up stronger and not just have TDP operate over us, but operate with us. But I'm very proud of you and Stephanie Dale. After your election, you guys have just kept going to the school board meetings and just keeping up, being engaged in the community, and that's where it's at, and that's how you start being a stronger candidate and start building your bench. So I do appreciate all that you guys are doing, and whether we've spoken or not, you can best believe that I'm paying attention. So I keep up with everything y'all are doing.
Oh, thank you, and the same goes back to you. I've seen all the work that you've been doing. Uh, you obviously are far more busier than me right now. I've seen how you've been driving all over the place, all throughout Texas, and
Yeah, it's fun. It has been fun, and getting that message out and talking to all of the people. And they don't end up being our voters, but for this particular election, but the county parties and the volunteers around the state, people are ready for change. And so hopefully our leadership will be ready to enact change.
yeah, definitely. And another thing I'll say too is when we talk about people are ready for change, I want to remind everyone the first time that Donald Trump had his trifecta, there was a blue wave during his midterm because people were so upset with what the administration was doing. Now, I don't want to get complacent or anything, but we really need to make that happen again in this coming midterm as well. And
Yeah,
the time is coming up. It's coming up real fast. So,
it's coming
uh,
up really fast, but I'm also nervous that people have short term memory. You know, I just thought about that today because we feel like clearly by midterms people are going to realize what they're done. But
Yeah.
maybe the last 2 months he'll issue a check and boom, people forget. You know, they're going to do something. So we have to stay engaged and people know and continue to hold them accountable.
You know what? That is a great message. Engage, and I believe that was your topic from last year was to get engaged. And I think Dell and I took a page out of your book, and that's what we have definitely been doing was staying engaged after our election, and because the people want to say, well, hey, y'all didn't do a good job in getting the message out, talking about the Democratic Party, and here in Denton County area, I know we were definitely getting that message out. Some of us heard us, but the only thing that we can do is definitely do exactly that. Stay engaged, continue on telling the truth and being open and honest with people because that's all the people want to know. They want the truth. They're tired of being lied to. They want the truth, whether it hurts or not, you know? But
Right?
we're so proud of you. Y'all, this is our Denton County chairperson, and she's an amazing person. I believe that she's
Thank you.
going to be our future Texas leader one way or another. I believe in her. I think that let me tell you something. I know the people that are running, and my hat goes off to all of them, but I'm going to tell you, I think Delia should have ran for the U.S. chair. She should have did that because we need somebody with some tough skin that's gonna take it to them. And I believe Delia, you got what it takes to stand up. You are that true Democrat person that will stand up and you know
Yeah, you
you
do got.
were the Jasmine Crockett before there was a Jasmine Crockett.
Well, you do have to be bold. You're right. Working with Dems, you've got to be bold, and then you've got to be fearless when you're in a red county like we are. And I think the fact that we've got candidates running, you guys are out there knocking on doors, is making people have a bit more courage. And I remember running in 2020, and I think that the tone of people has certainly changed now. And it doesn't hurt that Republicans have lost their mind. So people feel they have to. But that engagement, and you've got to be bold and you got to be fearless because they win by keeping us intimidated.
I'm gonna tell y'all a little something here. Delia is the reason, one of the main reasons why I stepped up to run for my position. I was not going to do it. I wanted to take my time and ease into it because I had no idea. She go, oh no, I got something for you. Oh no, don't run for this one. I got something perfect for you.
Yeah.
State Senate. I'm like, oh Lord, what's she drinking?
No, no, no. You guys were both excellent candidates, and I knew you could do it. And you just took over, and you really didn't. We're all learning. We're all doing new roles in Denton County, right? We're not like Dallas, where there's so many candidates, there's primaries and there's resources. We're all struggling to find treasurers and learning different things. And so you did step in it, and I was watching all the things you were doing. You guys, you took it to a really good level. That was really, really good for the community.
Well, thank you very much. I think Bill and I both are thankful that you pushed us into doing this and it's opening up doors for you never know what's going to happen in the future. I'm definitely going to make sure that I stay engaged and meet the people where they're at, because if we don't do it, who's going to do it?
They're gonna lie on us, and we're gonna be identified by the way they identify us. That's what's gonna happen.
Oh, yes. So, y'all, please, if you are an SEC person, please make sure y'all look at Delia. Man, she is a strong individual.
Mm.
We need to have her somewhere in our leadership in Texas. I'm telling y'all, we need a stronger leadership in Texas, especially in our Democrat Party. But I know whoever gets it, they're going to do a good job. But, I always have my favorites.
All right, I'm gonna step off and then let you guys do your closing. But I appreciate you having me on. I wanted to make sure I tried to do that since you reached out for it. So keep doing what y'all are doing. I'm proud of you.
All right. And good luck to you on Saturday and hope to see you soon. And
All right,
thank you for stopping by.
not a problem. Bye. Have a good
Good luck.
All righty, Dell. Are you ready? We got 5 minutes. I can't believe we almost finished.
Oh yeah, time flies.
Oh yeah, we're having a lot of fun over here. But y'all, I'm telling you, this race in Texas is getting interesting on all sides. I think we have four top people that's running, and it's going to be a very interesting race. And I'm looking forward to seeing who is going to be the next person that's going to protect our Texas Democrat Party. So, congratulations to all of you who are running. And I know, Dale, I can't make this stuff up. We're going to have so much content on Politic Wednesday. I mean, the GOP is just giving us all kind. We could actually write a book, you know?
Yeah,
We could write a book on. We can't make this up because they're going to do something. They're probably doing something right now to make us ask the question, what were you thinking when you did this?
yeah. It's that type of thing. I don't know if I'm repeating. Well, I am repeating myself, but I can't remember if I said this before we went live or not. But I remember back when Saturday Night Live saw that Trump lost the election to Joe Biden, and like one of the jokes was to say, "Oh man, there goes our content. Our jobs used to be so easy." And I think someone else also made a joke about saying the same thing. I think one of the news anchors did somewhere. But it's one of those things where it is horribly painful to watch, but on the same time too, it is like the glass half full mentality is as well. You know, there'll be content to be had, and the late night comedians, Stephen Colbert and all of them, they're going to have their content as well. And we're gonna have to take this day by day, week by week, but definitely keeps the country on the edge of their seat, and I think that's also why I think there should be a blue wave in this coming midterm because people are held to the edge of their seat. I do fear and mostly agree with Delia when she says she worries about people's short-term memory, or if people will remember what is happening and all that. Like Donald Trump could do something nice right before the midterm elections, something that would make sense. But at the same time, too, I do think that there's a general feeling of agitation that I think people will not forget. Because when we are held on the edge of our seat every single day or every single week, and when we're given that feeling and that vibe, and as we lose our morale day after day, week after week, month after month, I think that feeling will not be forgotten. And I think that's also, I think, as to what kind of brought about the blue wave in the last time Donald Trump was president. I mean,
Well, we just got a text, got a message saying Dem won in Pennsylvania state Senate race in a Republican leading district that had not been held by a Dem in decades. So, yay, we got a seat. So, don't forget we got a special election coming in Florida. What date is that? April the
April 1st, and that's not an April Fool's Day joke. That is legitimate true. So that's coming up. And actually, come to think of it, I believe that's voting day. So their early election might have maybe it's already started, or if it's not, it's starting soon, perhaps. I don't know what the early voting laws look like in Florida, or even if they have them. We do have them here in Texas, but that aside, we have two special elections in Florida that are coming up, and I believe there's also another special election in New York, but I think that's not until
New York.
November. Now, one unfortunate thing for us on the Democratic side is that even if we do win all three of these, I don't think we will have control over the congressional House. And I think that's because, unfortunately, may he rest in peace, one of our representatives passed away. We had a Texas representative from Houston, I believe. And
yeah.
because he passed away, I think, from what I understand, you can fact check me on this, but I think the governor has to call for a special election. I don't know if it happens automatically, but if the governor has to call for the special election, I'm sure the governor will probably drag his feet heavily on that because he probably wouldn't want the risk.
No, but you know what? They already have candidates lined up, and they're supposed to be having some type of forum down there in Houston this weekend. So there's a lot. Matter of fact, there's quite a few people that is running for. I think it's District 118. So Houston, let's come on, y'all. Let's pull it together and let's make sure that we put the right person in that position, because that is a very Houston is a very important city. It is one of the biggest cities in Texas that have the most blue areas ever in Texas. They go out and they go vote, and we need to make sure that we support them as much as possible. They're gonna have another special election on there. Rest in peace, Congressman Turner. He died 2 weeks ago, and they will be having a special election on there. And someone also said, Sandy said that yes, there are a special election that's coming up as well. So good luck to y'all out there, and good luck to all the people that are running in these special election. Y'all, please do not forget, if you're in those areas, please do not forget to make sure that you get out and go vote. Have your IDs with y'all. And of course, May 7th is the day that you have to have that star on your driver's license in order for you to go into federal buildings and even fly across the country if you do not have your passport. Oh, we're being told that Amanda Edward is the progressive that is running for um, the congressman seat. So we'll see how this going to turn out. It's going to be an interesting race to see, because from what I understand, there's quite a few people that are running for that position. So we'll see. So, Dale, you ready to close out? We done made time.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I was going to jump into. I was reading the comment. I have my own comment section actually on Facebook, and someone was saying, Josh Howie was saying that the early voting has actually already started. He's from Florida, so
Okay.
that's good. So in closing, I will say, hey guys, all of y'all who live in Florida, you got to get out and vote. You got to get out and vote. If you don't live in the right part of Florida where you can't vote in this election, make sure your neighbors know, because there's a
Yes.
lot on the line here. There's a lot on the line, and we got to step up, because if we don't fight, we're guaranteed to lose. I mean, we're only going to get what we want when we vote, and we vote for our own self interests. So if you live in Florida right now, early voting's already started. Thank you, Joshua, for informing me. And aside from that, keep your chin up, pay attention to what's going on. We're going to take it one day at a time, and we're going to do everything that we can in order to make a blue wave happen in this upcoming midterms.
Right. And you know what? In closing, I want to say this. A lot of times I have some military people that are on this page watching and stuff, and I want to make sure that you all know that we, the people, do appreciate everything that you do for this country. We appreciate your sacrifice that you have made, and with your family as well. And we will stand up right along with you, and we appreciate. I know I've received some interesting comments about, they know that the oath that they took, they understand what they took. They took the oath to protect the people and not the man. So you know what? We're gonna protect y'all. And I would like to also add to that, to our people that are working as Secret Service men and women, and our federal folks that are nervous about if they're going to have their jobs or not. My prayers go out to you all, and so is my thoughts, because I can't even imagine the amount of stress that you have going into work, knowing that there's a possibility that we have people that are in charge of you that's not qualified, that have your job in their hand. Keep doing what you're doing, keep doing the right thing, and keep standing on principle. Because at the end of the day, what's going on in DC, something's going to change, and it's going to change for the people. There are so many people around the United States that have been protesting, and if you're not out in the streets protesting, they are sending out emails and calling. So continue to do those things because it matters. And don't forget, let's not have Alzheimer's, y'all, because sometimes we forget things. Remember this moment. Remember what's going on, because come November, matter of fact, come May, come November, and come November of 2026, you got an opportunity to make the change again. And remember what they did. They mess with your grandparents' Social Security. They're trying to mess with your kids' SNAP programs. They're trying to take away Medicaid and Medicare. They're taking away veterans' rights to where they have medical help as well. They need those things. They're taking away what makes us Americans. If we don't have those things in place, how do we survive? If I hurt, you hurt. It doesn't matter if you're red or blue, because if either way it goes, Dale, if I hurt you, I hurt everybody. And what hurts you hurts me. And it hurts everybody. So, y'all, we have got to come together as one team. Because at the end of the day, we're United States citizens and we have to stand up for what's right. So, all of y'all that voted the wrong way, you made a mistake. And now it's time for us to stand up for what's right. Do the right thing. Y'all get out and go vote for people that actually gonna take care of you. So that's my little hot seat for today. Thank y'all so much for coming on to Let's Talk About It, Steph. Thank you, Delv, my co-host. He has been awesome, amazing. I just love it. See you next week, because we can't make this stuff up. It's going to be more content coming in, because they thinking about doing something else. Who knows what it's going to be, but we'll let you know what's going on out there. So y'all have a wonderful Wednesday and be safe out there and have a great weekend. See you next week.